Norah Adhiambo in Nairobi, and we welcome our viewers in Kenya and around the world to Checkpoint. This program takes a global and exclusive look at the evocative issues affecting public attitude in sports, health, education, arts and culture. Let's take a look at the stories making headlines. China has a new surveillance tool that identifies citizens by how they walk. Chinese authorities have begun deploying a new surveillance tool designed to identify people by how they walk or the shapes of their body. China is already using the tool on the streets in its two largest cities, Beijing and Shanghai. It again raises concern among privacy advocates about how far the government is willing to go to keep the tabs on its citizens. Trump's response to caravans will result in more caravans. As a group of an estimated 5,000 men, women and children slowly trek north from Central America in hopes of claiming asylum at the U.S. southern border, President Donald Trump is framing the group's 100-mile march as a national emergency and has vowed economic vengeance upon the home nation. But President Trump's solution to the caravans, experts on the region say, will only guarantee more caravans in the future. Soccer is still out of reach for half the world's women. The U.S. women's soccer team should use their stage to demand that all governments to support women in soccer. Almost 27 million viewers in the U.S. watched the country defeat Japan in a stunning 5-2 victory during the FIFA Women's World Cup. This was the largest U.S. audience ever to watch a soccer match. Yet, as we watch with our young daughters the game from our Turkey, where girls' soccer teams are scant and female players face discrimination and harassment. Even in countries where there are no formal restrictions, women often face death threats, accusations of unfeminine behavior. In some countries, women are even forbidden from entering soccer stadiums just to watch. After taking a look at these three global stories, our main focus will be on soccer is still out of reach for half the world's women. Kenya risks missing out from the Africa Women's Nations Cup finals in Ghana next month as it struggles to raise $430,000 to fund the trip. Nick Mwendwa, President of Football Kenya Federation, wants the country's parliament to fast-track operationals of the sports fund. Nick is appealing to the government to give the women's team full support as it has done with the senior men's team Harambee Stars. Do you think the government will stand out to support women's football and sponsor the trip? Feel free to comment your views. My Twitter handle @Norah Adhiambo. Most people are really relating to this issue of accountability. Nelly Angela is saying she thinks the government should come out and support women's football the same way they always support men's football, because they are both doing a good job representing our country worldwide, which is a very great thing of our women to be seen playing outside the country. Our reporter Faith Odwori joins us live to tell us whether the government is ready to stand out with the women's football team.
Women's football is not embraced as much compared to men's football, especially when it comes to World Cup. You'll find that men's World Cup will be announced several times each and every single day. This helps to attract more attention to the audience and pushes them to watch the game more. But when it comes to women's football, there's no advertisement as much as it is for the men's game. People claim that ladies seem to be weak on the pitch due to lack of practice before the competition. After carrying out some interviews, we found out that most people don't find ladies' game interesting or inspiring because they believe football is best for men. In the past, ladies were not allowed to play football, and this has also affected people's mentality, especially this generation who feel watching women's football is a waste of time. The main challenge female players face is that men's football has been given more priority than women's football because the resources are always inclined to the men's side. Women, however, have a chance to do better the same way as men. All they need is support, funds, and resources. Reporting for Checkpoint Features, my name is Odwori.
I kind of like both, but men's football tends to be given more priority than women's football because the resources are always inclined to one side, which is the men's side. So people tend to watch a lot of men's football than women's football. But if people actually paid to go watch, if they put all their resources, the coaching staff are taken to the women, I feel like people would watch, and it's also entertaining to watch ladies play. So yeah, I think they have a chance, but they have to be given an opportunity to express themselves.
Uh, to me, I support men's football more because of the adrenaline and the way they use the energy to play the football, and the attack in men's football is always so vigorous. And coming back to the defense, you can also see the physicality that makes men's football more interesting than the women's football. So even in the PlayStation consoles, as you can see, there's always the men's football and women's football, but I always prefer to play men's football because I know of the energy that the men or the male players will project while playing the game, and that makes men's football more interesting and more entertaining.
As you can see, I'm in the males and females football pitch. But then just behind me, you can see the males have already started practicing. They've come on time and they're ready to start their match. But on the other hand, the females are not here yet, and those that have come are not ready to start practicing. With this look, when you just look at this picture, it just gives you an impression of how girls or how female are not interested in football at all. Because when you go to volleyball pitch and other pitches, you see them. But then in football, they are not so kind of them. But then you talk to the coach, and what he said is that not most of them started practicing when they are children. You know, the boys start practicing when they are kids. But then when it comes to girls, it's just something they want to venture in. So what I'm judging from this look, I think there's lack of interest and we should venture in this. Back to you, Norah, in the studio.
Thank you very much, Faith. There is a viewer who has commented on Twitter at Charity Kilunganya. Her argument is that embracing women's football is not a bad thing. It's a very great idea and I agree with it. But the problem is, ladies do not play well to attract the audience attention in the field. I think it will be better if they learn the tricks men use in the field and use them. I'm joined with a panel of opinion leaders. With me here today is Mr. Shem Wanyama. He's the ladies football coach in Daystar, and he will just tell us why he thinks women's football is not embraced same way as men's football. I'm also joined with Mr. Boniface Mutuku, who is going to explain what he thinks can be done to bring more audience to embrace women's football. Lastly, we have the sports officer, Mr. Maurice Basiga, who will be telling us what is causing this perception towards women's football.
Thank you, Norah, for having me here. What I can say about women football, the fact that it's not really embraced that much, and the world has not really accepted that women can play football, is because okay, the men's football tends to have taken the bigger share here, because men naturally men are believed to be people who are sporty, and and also the population of men in terms of sport, it's bigger. But again, I want to say that the government has not really, or maybe the world generally has not really done enough to make sure that women play football or whichever sport, but in this regard is football. First of all is resources. The world has not pumped in enough resources in ladies football in terms of equipment, in terms of giving it airtime on TVs, giving it airtime on advertisements and YouTube channels, things like that. Just giving it airtime in terms of making it known, making it public, and also inspiring women to make them believe that they can play football. Right now, if a woman is seen playing football, it's like a miracle. People just say, "Ah, you play football." Hey, then that is a good thing. It's like a miracle, because women are minority in this kind of sport and all that. But it's just time for the world generally to rise up and put more resources, invest in sports, or maybe invest in football, form clubs, form teams, and put their money, put resources, pump in money for equipment, and also give them airtime and also publicity, and inspire ladies, because we tend to believe that the generation right now, and even where we are headed, that football is a sport to play and participate.
Thank you very much, Onyama.
Thank you for having me, Norah. Concerning the women football and men football, I think the first thing is, if you look at the women football, even now at the kids level, girl child has been denied that chance actually to go out and play the game, rather than the male child is given that opportunity. Now you find that it's very hard even for the audience to come out and watch the girl football, because mostly they are not seen when they are training. But for the men, you find that at the age of 6, the boy child is out, is training. So when the audience hear that there is World Cup, all of them will come out in large numbers to watch what is going on. Or rather, in the other side of the women, whereby the girl child is not given that chance. Yeah? When it is there, no one wants to go out and see, because they are not seen outside their training. They are always indoors. Then the countries that are associated with the women's soccer are countries like US, whereby if you go to US, you'll find there is that audience, because in US their women they prefer playing football than the other sports. But in the other countries,
Thank you, Mr. Boniface. Lastly, we have the sports officer, Mr. Maurice Pasiga, who will be telling us what is causing this perception towards women's football.
Thank you, Norah. My name is Maurice Masiga, and I'm the Sport and Recreation Officer at Day State University. I'm glad to say something about women's football, women's soccer, I believe. Yes, indeed, women's soccer is not taken as seriously as men's soccer currently, at least not in this part of the world. But there are other places where women's soccer is a very serious business. I say business because sport in general has become very, very commercial. If you don't put money in sport, you don't get the kind of results that you want. And so you have to put money in women's soccer in order to see the growth of women's soccer. Women's soccer is as important as other sports, and women are important, and we need to encourage women to play soccer, and we need to pay. We need to pay them to play. We need to commercialize women's soccer. We need to put money. Companies need to sponsor women's teams, and the women's league needs to be bumped up so that more young girls can sign up for women's soccer, and the league will thrive and the sport will thrive. Thank you very much.
It's a good thing that now citizens are realizing that women's football is going down, and the world must do something to prevent this. I also think it will be better if more advertisements will be done for women's football to attract the attention of the audience. We all see the pressure people have when it comes to Men's World Cup, which happen after every 4 years. You will find people in town buying television and installing DSTV. No one wants to miss it. I think it will be better if we have the same passion when it comes to Women's Final World Cup, for us to motivate and encourage them to work hard. Thank you all for watching. You can continue with the conversation online through my Twitter handle @Norah Adhiambo. Subscribe to be notified of new shows and then comment. I was your host, Norah Adhiambo. Africa.